Hey guys, hope you guys are having a really great day. Today we're going to talk about Python testing, and specifically with Python testing, just like small tests. I want this to be just a gentle introduction on how to do some small unit tests, or basically just small atomic tests in order to make your code better and a little bit safer. So you might be asking, why is testing important for you, and why is it important to learn as a Python developer? The reason it is important is if you are able to write tests and not have to kind of backload everything. If you just do it as you're coding normally, you're going to end up saving a lot of time because you're going to reduce the amount of errors and the amount of time you've got to have to debug your code. If you kind of think about this like just in a normal or different field, with surgery, for example, there's so much stuff going on that a surgeon has to do. Same thing with a coder. You have to take care of so many variables when you create new features, write your actual code, and it just makes sense to have like a certain type of checklist or mechanism where you're verifying what you're writing or doing is correct. So I'm sure you heard that surgery injuries or not malpractice, but errors within surgery were able to be reduced by just surgeons simply using a checklist. Same thing with code. If you just have good testing habits, so essentially just writing a test for the code you write, you can just automatically test your code and know that you haven't broken certain functionality. You keep track of your code, make sure it's healthy, and like the old cliche goes, an ounce of prevention's worth more than a pound of cost. So this is just going to save you from a lot more headaches if you kind of just test and write tests as you write code. So generally in Python, you can just do some simple unit tests, importing the unit test library. So it's built into Python. I just created this simple function in Python, so a multiply function. So I take in one parameter, and then I just take an optional amount of arguments. So it can be 1 to 97, and then I return the multiplied output. So in order to write tests, what you want to do is use the unit test class. So for this, you can name whatever you want. So for this first part, I just named it testmult because that's the actual function I am testing, or method I'm testing. And within this new class, you have to inherit from the parent class test case from unit test. So basically, this is how it's written. Let's say you have like a different function called add or divide. So you just create it like this: test divide, unit test, the test case, and then you just add your test down here. So how do you write your actual specific unit test? So again, you're just trying to get like an atomic case or behavior you want to test out for your function. So for this function, I'm going to essentially just test, hey, if I multiply a bunch of positive numbers, I get a certain result. So if I multiply all these numbers, I expect the number 360. And for one negative number, I want to make sure that if I multiply all this, I get negative 360. So you just write it out. The main thing for these is to start your test methods with this actual test keyword underscore, and then whatever you want to call it afterward. But make sure that whatever you write to the right of this test underscore, it's descriptive of what type of test you want to create. And you'll see once we run this, the actual test names are going to be called these functions. So with here, you can just use self.assert. So here I'm calling the function with the optional amount of parameters. I am specifying in the second parameter the specific target sum I want to get to. So I want this a parameter to equal the second parameter, and then the string for the test. So same thing here. You can see I started off with test underscore, and then whatever I wanted to name here, it has input of self, and then I can just do this little simple test here. So besides self.assert equal, you have a lot of different assert methods like assert true, assert false. There's a huge list you can use. So this is just a small little example. And then to actually initialize your test, you're going to want to write this statement: if dunder name double equals the string of dunder main, then just run our unit test suite. So like once you've written this part of your unit test, and let me just, oh, actually I can leave that there. You can run your actual test by just running the file if it's in the same test. So Python test.py. Oh, I got the S. So you can see that I ran 2 tests and it was both passed. Let me fail 1 test. You can see what it looks like. So with this, you can see I have 1 failure, and you can see because I mistyped the target sum, 360 does not equal 370. It should be 360. So the actual error did not occur in my running of the function, but in how I wrote the test. So again, you're just doing some simple functionality testing, and you can think about a lot of different ways you can test your code, but this is just a simple overview. Another command you could use, let's say you don't want to just run your file, you can actually write, I believe, and let me just make sure this is right. You can do python-m unit test, and then the actual name of your test module. So for me, it's the name of the file, so Python unit test, and then Python test. And then you can see we ran the same test. Let me fix that little tiny error right here. And now both tests should run. So again, this is just another way of writing it. So instead of just having the script name, you could do python-m unit test and then this module name or the file name. So this is useful if you have multiple test files you want to run. So like for example, you could have like 4 files and just have all those modules be named here. But yeah, this is just a little soft and small introduction to testing. Again, you just want to have your test be kind of atomic cases for specific functions. So just test out the simplest functionality and make sure that what you expect to be outputted is outputted. So we'll kind of expand more on how to do test-driven development with Python in a couple of future videos, but testing is very key. You're going to need it for any type of programming team you're going to join. And again, this is just some simple ways that you can dip your toes into the testing world and use it in your every day-to-day Python programming. So thanks again, guys, and see you guys next video. Cheers.